Ready? Here we go. All right, Scum and Villainy. Everybody put your hands together for Marc Bernardin and Rahul Kohli, Blackman Beyond.
Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Aw. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blackman Beyond. I am Marc Bernardin.
And I'm Rahul Kohli.
Woo! How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for coming out. This is always a joy and a pleasure, and the best part of any given week to be able to come here and fucking talk about nerd shit. Kevin, as you know, is not here because otherwise, drastic transformation.
No hockey jerseys.
No hockey jerseys. Apparently, Jersey's been very good to you. Yeah, Kevin is still, I think today was the last day on Clerks 3. And so he'll be making his way back west, right? That's where we are. Shortly, but for now, I get my man Rahul, who's going to fucking hang out with me today. And also, this is the first time we've met. We've been just like, you know, kind of pen pals for a while.
That's
just,
true.
Yeah, you know, trading little fucking like, hey man, how you doing? It's like, oh, I'm good. What are you working on? I'm building some shit in my workshop. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, playing fucking games. Like, I know. Okay, latest. And it was that for a couple of years, but now, and we finally fucking made it happen.
Yeah, we've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, because
It worked
I've been a fan since episode 1 of iZombie.
Oh. I don't hear that often. I thought you were going to say Bly Manor or something. No one says iZombie.
No, I was a diehard iZombieer, primarily because I know Chris Robertson, who wrote the comic book.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
Like he's a buddy. And so when the show was like, oh, I got to see what they did to your book, man. I got to see if they fucked it up or not. I mean, it's totally not the book. But it still was. It was incredibly charming and a lot of fun, and how you build that show out of that book, I found it really kind of fascinating. And then I was like, hey, that dude's funny. He's doing like funny shit in a way that like nobody else is kind of doing the funny shit that I like. And then I watched every fucking episode, all 71 of them, I think there were, right, something like that.
I hope that's what I got paid for.
Your residuals will tell you that story.
Yeah.
But but here's the thing, like we've never met, so this is also like a little bit of a first date. So I guess we're gonna do some like.
That's why I'm getting drunk.
Yes, I know. It's like
I'm nervous. I feel
this
self-conscious.
man needs more vodka, and I might need some Skywalker wine before this night is over.
Oh, there's blue milk here, right?
They do have.
I've puked it up because not that it's bad, because I had a birthday party here. And we had that booth over there. It was Star Wars dress up, and I was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, and you were suckling from the teat.
Absolutely, and it all came out in like Burbank somewhere on someone.
But tell me a little bit about, you know, you grew up in the UK. Mm-hmm. What is it like being a brown kid who's a nerd in the UK?
Ooh. Not special?
Not special. Because I
feel like all brown kids in the UK are nerds.
Well, I mean, because I know what it was like being this brown kid growing up a nerd in New York, which was nobody knew you were a nerd because you couldn't tell anybody that shit. But what is it like? What was it like for you growing up and feeling these feelings and having these urges and you know, kind of tamping them down and keeping them on the down low, but just knowing you wanted to do some shit.
Absolutely. Coming out of the nerd closet.
Yeah. No, for real.
I mean, I've never hid it. I've never seen myself as a nerd. I think the like nerd culture is so broad. Mm-hmm. At this point, if my mum knows who Vision and Wonder is that nerd culture anymore? Like it's mainstream.
Right. So
I've never really identified as anything but myself, which is so like obviously I have a huge passion for football. My football team at the exact same time. What's up? At the exact same time that I, you know, was collecting episode 1 merchandise, and you know what I mean. So like, I was always kind of a contradiction, and I was never apologetic for like just liking everything, whether it was popular or unpopular. The whole kind of cultural part of it was more being an actor. That was more of a thing I had to kind of make excuses for, because it sounds like a stereotype, but like particularly with South Asian culture, not many kids go into the arts. You know, there's usually a set path for you. It's business, it's medicine, it's law.
What was supposed to be your path?
I don't think I was smart enough. So whatever they had set out for me wasn't going to happen because I'm stupid. So I like my sister became a lawyer, but like we did this switcheroo. I think I was going into IT. I was a huge fan of the Star Wars movies. I actually wanted to go into special effects. So I wanted to go to like do internships and learn about doing CGI. And then somewhere along the way, I think at like 17, 18, I flipped and I was like, I want to be in front of the camera, and dropped out of everything. And my parents were concerned, but not because of any kind of like, you know, you should be a good Indian boy and be a doctor. My parents ain't like that. It was more like, you're not going to earn. Like, this is ridiculous. And you've never done it before. And you're throwing everything away to like go to drama school and you don't even know if you'll get in. Luckily, everything went the right way. But within the community, I was kind of like a running joke, you know, till, well, iZombie, no, but still, till about today. Today, now who's got the last laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was more of like a thing I felt kind of embarrassed for. I'd make excuses for when everyone else was super successful and I had just got like a mango juice commercial and I was still living at home. And you know, but yeah,
there is that switch when like, because I wanted to be a writer for a while. I wanted to be a filmmaker, which there were not a ton of, you know, African American filmmakers until Spike Lee, you know, who actually like sort of made it big. Like there were some. Like I'm not going to say that Hollywood had none of them, but you can count them on one hand, and they never made the kind of movies that I liked.
Yeah.
But so Hollywood became this weird sort of denigration. They're like, hey, Hollywood, how you doing? Which is like, you're never going to go to Hollywood. Yeah. And now you go back home, it's like, hey, Hollywood. It's like, yeah, I know. You want to have lunch? Like, I'm not having lunch with you. You used to call me Hollywood, you son of a bitch. Yeah. So is episode 1 your sort of ground zero for your nerdiness?
No, it was the special editions, because I think I was 10 or 11 years old, and no one got me into Star Wars. Actually, this is so weird. This thing changed my life. Doritos.
Changed mine too.
Right? In the UK, Doritos came with, you know, Pogs or whatever, those discs. Right? So I was like snacking on those Cool Ranch as a 10-year-old, and I'd end up with these discs with like Han and Carbonite. And I was like, I've never seen these fucking films. What are these? What, you know, so I ended up, the merch worked. I asked for the VHS box set for my birthday. And Friday, I think, like, we weren't allowed to watch any VHSs or video games during the week. It was a Friday night weekend treat. So Friday, I got home from school, I put A New Hope in, and like, mind exploded. And I went straight into Empire that night. And then it was bedtime. I think I got up at like 6 a.m. and did Jedi Saturday morning. And then it was like, if there's like a line of where my life was going, at that point it just went boop. And it was thanks to Doritos, not Lucas. It was Doritos. But yeah, so it was the special editions. I knew nothing at the time. I just accepted the movies for what they were, not knowing that episode 1 was like 18 months away, 24 months away, or whatever. So then I found out, I was like, well, you know, they're making stories about how Vader became this way. So that's how it just went into fever pitch. And by that point, I was spending pocket money all the time. So episode 1 merch was just like everything.
Did your parents get it? Like, were they like, what is happening here? Where's the hairdresser and the walking garbage can man? And
They did. I mean, my dad definitely did. My dad has been a huge influence for me with like introducing me to stuff. Like he recorded Batman *89 for me on VHS and showed me that, and Beetlejuice, and he got me into the Man with No Name trilogy. So like my dad was a huge comedy fan, so we were getting like stand up, Richard Pryor, Bill Hicks, that kind of stuff, like fed to us inadvertently. I don't think it was just out of enjoyment. It wasn't like he had some sort of set plan or some sort of binder of what he wants me and my sister to watch. But yeah, so he got it. My mum didn't. My mum, she loves it now. Like she was I think she binged. It was so cool, and I'm very grateful to Filoni and Favreau for this. But like, I was having text messages with my mum while she was watching The Mandalorian second season, and was trying to ask like, well, what's a Boba Fett, and you know, like, how did this happen? And I was like, well, you know, in Empire you see Boba, and so because of that show, I got to have those kind of conversations. So I was very grateful for that, because I couldn't have those 20 years ago. Right. You know. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so your baby Rahul is a Star Wars nerd and a football nerd. Who's your team?
That's Liverpool. We have a jersey right there, just repping. But yeah, Liverpool.
Hard. All right. And then acting comes in, and you decide this is the thing you want to do, right? Yeah. This is your calling.
To be in Star Wars.
To be in Star Wars.
Yeah, that was a means to an end.
All right. How's it going?
Great. No, it's really well, actually. Yeah. The paths have crossed and bumped and whatever. But yeah, I got lucky that I ended up falling in love with my job more than the reason I got into it. Do you know what I mean? So like, I actually enjoy what I do more than wanting to be in Star Wars. So it worked out in the end.
Describe for me and I know this is sounding like a weird interview, like, tell me if you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be? But what was your life like the day before you get the iZombie call?
Oh, yeah. So I was 27. I had just got conned into believing.
The sexiest age. 27.
Big up the 27-year-olds. I've never spoken about this. I was led to believe by my then team that I had been cast, this is so messed up, in a prequel to Doctor Who. Okay? So the audition went out and I booked it and we signed contracts.
Oh shit.
And it turns out it was a big load of shit. And we were conned. And I had already lost faith in my team, because I was like, how did you let that slip through the cracks, that this didn't happen? This person had all my time. They signed me. And it was fraudulent. And at that point, I was at the lowest I felt. I was living at home. I had, at that, like, a line in a soap opera was as good as it got. And I'm rapidly approaching 30, and it looks like it's done. And I remember this guy who said he had the rights to make this fucking thing. He was bashing this guy on the phone to me. He was like, because come on, man, if Rob Thomas can make a Kickstarter movie for Veronica Mars, if that crap can get funded, then why can't a Doctor Who thing? And I was like, oh, I don't know what any of those references are. A month later, after a terrible audition for 24, the London one, I called my team and was like, I'm quitting. I'm done. And I remember this like clear as day. And they were like, well, okay, we'll sit on it. Maybe you're just angry, give the weekend or whatever to think about it. In the meantime, we have an audition for you for a pilot called iZombie. And I was like, oh, that sounds terrible. And then I was so angry, I knuckled down, and I kind of took my aggression out on that audition a little bit, and frustrations, and I went in on a Monday, and by Friday they cast me as Ravi. And that was it. And then I flew off. And then I always thought, as a little lesson, that dude was talking so much shit on Rob Thomas to this out-of-work actor. And a few weeks later, Rob's my boss, and I could go, that dude was talking shit about you, by the way. Never talk nonsense about other people. How quickly it can come back on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it changed my life. It was overnight. Just changed everything for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm convinced that for every person who's in the creative arts, there is the moment for which they would never do it again. Where it's like, because it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like I remember talking to somebody over the weekend, some young writer who was like, yeah, like, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I want to break in, but I think it'll happen. I was like, bro, I don't mean to harsh your vibe, but it probably won't. Because there are more people playing professional baseball than there are who write for a living in Hollywood. Like,
wow.
Those are the numbers. And so you have to be wide-eyed about those, and you have to realize that it's the longest of fucking long shots. And if you can make some peace with that, then by all means go for it. But you can't expect it to work. You have to, the odds are that it won't. Yeah. And you have to make some peace with that. And so for every person who finally made it, there was a moment for which they were just about to give up. Yeah. Until one person, one opportunity, one moment in time led them to just do the one more thing that they probably might not have done otherwise. For yours, it was anger, which is awesome.
It's always anger. I tell everyone I'm Jedi, I'm Sith. I'm Sith. I know I'm Sith. I don't know why I pretend I'm blue lightsaber.
I mean, but they have the most fun.
They do.
To be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, being a Jedi sounds boring.
It does.
Like, the height of being a Jedi is, I got this nice swampland property. I'm going to build a little hut.
And no relationships.
No.
No attachments.
Yeah. I'm going to sit here in the fucking swamp and just wank until I'm dead. Which...
You're kind of selling it. I didn't...
would you like to buy my hut by the swamp? So iZombie goes for 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, 5 seasons.
What was your first... What was your first Comic-Con like?
Oh my God, first Comic-Con. So we just did the pilot. Then we were picked up and we went to Comic-Con. And it was an interesting one. I was obviously, the show hadn't come out yet. We were still being kind of shown around. No one knew what we were putting out there. No one saw the pilot. It's not like we didn't debut it at the panel. So we were walking around selling something with this log line about she eats the brains and gets the victims of the brains, and it's called iZombie, and every journalist made the same iPhone joke. And we were like, no, it's not an app, it's this. So in terms of selling it, it was awkward and quite kind of frustrating for us, because it was like, we wished people had at least seen the pilot, or at least a trailer, not even a trailer. So, but the experience of like, meeting certain people I never thought I'd meet, and I had broken my hand, I think a month prior to Comic-Con. I was watching a Liverpool game and I punched the door and I broke my hand. I broke my foot. And
I mean, or force choking a guy.
Yeah, oh no, that's better. I was force choking a Jedi.
Yeah.
And
it's a Tuesday, so.
And flash forward to Comic-Con, Mike Tyson was doing press for his animated show. Yeah. And I'm standing with Mike, and Mike's telling me why I broke it. And he was like, you're one thing wrong, you need to put the... I shouldn't do this. This is live. I don't want to get beaten up. But Mike was giving me boxing advice. And I was like, this is fucking weird. What's going on? And then... this is going to be a complete name-droppy thing, but
it's all good.
Jim Lee was there. And I got introduced to Jim Lee, and... we ended up grabbing some food afterwards as a group, and Jim and I were drawing on napkins, and he was giving me techniques. And it was just like, it's just the most surreal dream. It was like, I got boxing advice from Mike Tyson. I'm getting drawing advice from Jim Lee. IGN and all the, we're meeting all the people that I would watch, yeah, it was a whirlwind. And then the second year was a lot better, because now the show was out and people wanted more information. Where's the show going to go? What's going to happen? And yeah, but it became incredible.
Yeah, it levels up a bit.
Yeah.
Were you a kind of person who wanted to be famous, or is it I want to act and I'll take the fame as a byproduct?
See, so fame. I think anyone who wants fame it's kind of looked upon as especially in the acting world, like that's kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of frowned upon, right? And it's
anathema.
That sounds right. I'll Google that later.
Sweet.
But I don't think I wanted fame. What I wanted was to be the best I could be. And for South Asian representation, we don't have a Harrison Ford yet, right? We don't have an Idris or a Benicio del Toro. Dev's there. Dev's getting there, you know, with Green Knight and stuff, and Riz Ahmed, but it's still few and far between.
Yeah, like Naveen Andrews was the guy, like first
Absolutely,
to the door.
Naveen Andrews. Yeah, that was so important to see, because it was like, that's one, and that's the best you could hope for, was, you know, that kind of level. And this is such a silly thing to admit, but like I'd look at someone like Idris. I felt more closeness to Idris than I did other South Asian actors. Idris is a London boy who didn't get cast very often in the UK, and he went to America and he booked The Wire and became a sensation there and built on that, then went back to the UK, and he transcended. Idris is Idris. He transcends race, nationality, everything. He's just Idris. And I wanted that for South Asians. I wanted that for the little corner I represent. So with that comes a level of fame and box office numbers and all that stuff. So to say, do I want to be famous? Yes, it fits in with what I want and what I want to be able to show other young people from the same part of the world I'm from. Yeah, you can do it. And we can point to that and say, well, he's the lead and he got the money back, so I can be. So yeah.
Right. It's less fame for fame's sake and more fame as a tool.
For power.
Yeah. Fame is a lever to move things.
That's very stiff. For power.
The power.
I kind of
The power, the glory.
But you need that.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you look at others who've carved that way. When Will Smith his name sells the movie. You know, Men in Black, you get a big budget film like that and it kills. It's evidence. It's evidence that you go, no. It doesn't always have to be the same way. People are willing to part with their money and see this person in those roles. And like I said, I think Dev and Riz are on their way to that. And that's the path that I'd like to carve out at some point. But I've got a lot of Gundams to build, man. And I'm just...
Yeah, like
That's right.
every time I'm like, I'm just flipping fucking Instagram stories. What do I see? And I see this desk that is somehow both pristine and a chaos area.
Yeah.
And then like a piece of a thing and like just, I'm doing it. It's like, Gundam done, next.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Have you been a model builder, a kit builder your whole life, or?
It started with Star Wars. Like I think someone bought me, might have been my dad or my gran, for like Christmas, one of the like old school Revel model kits. It was I think it was Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. So if it had the Star Wars brand on it, I got it, or I was given it. And in those days, what I did was I dipped the brush straight into a tin and just slather it. Because I was a kid, I didn't know what I was doing, and I just do that. I was like, yeah, the TIE Fighter's silver, I reckon. And you just, because there's no internet. And then I think what happened was the auditions and the lack of work when I was in London it was kind of killing me. I was very busy. I was auditioning a lot, which was encouraging, but I wasn't working. So I needed to be available, and it would get hectic, and then there'd be long periods where it would just go dead. And I remember, I don't know, seeing one of the Star Wars kits, and I was like, I used to do this. Let me try it this way, but let me try it with YouTube. And that's where, like, as I was dipping the brush back in the tin to do the old school method, someone was like, no, you need to do this. You need to prime it, airbrush. And so that became kind of this outlet for creativity that didn't require another person. It didn't require too much money. There was always workarounds. And it kept me engaged while I wasn't working on something. And also it kept my moods in check. Like I found that I'm not very good at meditating or relaxing, and then that's one of the only hobbies where I'll start and 6 hours went, I didn't eat, I haven't gone out for a cigarette, I've just sat there and realized you know what I mean? It's got that state there, that meditative state. So now when I'm not filming, I do that. I just smash out as many kits as I can before I'm sent away to go and do something else.
Speaking of things you get sent away to do, I couldn't help but notice you have a television program.
Oh yeah,
coming on to the Netflixes. Just next month.
Yeah.
Called Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
What is it like working in the sort of Flanagan zone?
Oh, yeah, he's a genius. I've called him a surgeon before, and I think one of the most important things a tool a director can have is good communication skills. And funnily enough, it's not that common. The amount of times you stand with a director who has the best intentions can't communicate with you, doesn't know how to ask you to do with the thing that you want. Mike is like a neurosurgeon. He can come in, be concise, tell you one thing, change your entire performance. He's so hands-on, and you get spoiled. It's why like certain people work with the same director again and again and again, when you get that kind of support. And so it was kind of love at first sight for me with him. I don't think he feels the same way, but it's like when I first started working with him on Blind Manor, he kind of was sizing me up and asking me questions that had nothing to do with my character Owen. And this went on for a month, and then I'd get a phone call, and he'd text me and be like, how old do you think you can play? And I go, I don't know, 40? He's like, okay. And then disappear again for another week. I was like, what is this? And then at some point I was like, yo, Mike, stop flirting. Let's have a meeting. What is this thing that you keep like sizing me up for? And it was Midnight Mass. And he pitched it to me, and I was still on Bly. And within 15 minutes of him telling me the story, I was like, I'm in. And he was like, you need to talk to a team and lawyers first. Before I was like, I don't care. Do not give this role to anyone else. I don't care if Dev Patel's available. It's my role. And then we made it happen, and that was Midnight Mass, and I'm very appreciative. It's the best show I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens in the last episode?
Oh.
Glug, 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 glug.
It ends.
Oh
yeah. Credits.
Did not see that coming.
Credits.
Wow. What is I've been on sets before, and I'm always curious because sets can be the most boring places in the world.
Yeah.
But also the tenor and the tone of the set is somehow always a little contrary to the content you're making. Mm-hmm. So what is a Mike Flanagan horror show set like?
So I don't know, because Blind Manor wasn't horror. You know, it was a gothic horror. It was a romance. Every now and again, we like most of my scenes were very fun, lighthearted, and then I'd be doing a scene, and an hour later I'd realised that there was a little boy under the table in a doll's mask. No one told me, so that he'd be in the frame just down there, and like I'd be like, "Oh, what's up, mate? All right." I mean, Mike has said before that horror sets are usually the funniest. They're ridiculous. You know, I know from the Lady of the Lake, for instance, you know, the actors in those masks, they're kind of funny without the CGI, and between takes you see them trying to put like a straw in there with their Coke. It's ridiculous and fun. And then on top of that, it's hard to gauge. Like, I think horror films are really made in post. Mm-hmm. You know, our sets were super bright and colourful, and you'd go, this ain't creepy. What are we building? And then you watch it, you realise once it's been coloured, and there's a score, and you see the framing, you're like, oh, this is unsettling. But for the most part, it was just cooking sausages with a moustache. And I used to fart a lot because we had kids on set, and that was my way of making them laugh, was just to fart. Although once I did it, and I thought it was, because my farts are usually scentless.
Oh, really?
They don't smell.
No?
Yeah, because I'm not healthy. I feel like healthy people make horrible smelling farts. All that protein and broccoli don't smell good. Mine's just McDonald's. So I thought I'd do a little silent one, because I needed to, right, before a scene, and then one of the kids started heaving. And then the other kids smelled it, they started heaving, and I couldn't own up to it. So we had to leave set and fan it, and they don't know. They can watch this. It was me. I did it. It was
me. I don't know how to follow that question.
I have a good idea.
I'm going to read an ad.
Manscaped.
Would you like to watch me read a Manscaped
That does work. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to do a whole fucking segue about how beautiful your facial hair is.
But I don't use the trimmer that I use on my balls for my face, so that would have been a hard way for you to get to Manscaped.
I mean, it's a detour.
But you know what I do use?
Tell me.
Manscaped.
Manscaped?
I do actually, yeah.
Do you? Yeah. Excellent. I'm going to read this copy. Oh.
What is it?
Hello.
This is Skywalker Rosé.
We brew no wine before it's time. Skywalker.
It's amazing. That was my Anakin.
Ah, very nice. I've got sand in my teeth.
Tastes like rosé.
Yeah. All right, so like I could do the fucking vampy, we'll have a good time with this, but I feel like you'll see the spirit of it if I just read it fucking cold. Attention, listeners across the galaxy. This, mind you, Manscaped wrote this. Attention, listeners across the galaxy. All the way from Australia to Houston. Do you have a pube problem?
Yes.
Insert space music here. If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job for the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for liftoff by going to manscaped.com/fatman for 20% off plus free shipping.
Also, they're not just rockets, like pod racers and
for sure
one-manned ships and speeder bikes and
maglev trains.
Yeah, it doesn't have to just be big rockets that need to take off.
No, yeah. Totally. Ready for an out-of-world experience, fellas?
Sold.
Yes. I hope you all are enjoying the very last Manscaped ad read, because they're not going to ask me to do this anymore. Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off not only in the USA, but Canada, UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Blah, 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 blah. Ooh, more liftoff. 4.0 lawnmower trimmer. Advanced skin-safe technology. New multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. Because you don't want that thing fucking just going rampant in your suitcase. No, just buzzing pubes.
Especially if you look like me, you don't want your suitcase to do anything it shouldn't do. And Manscaped thought of that.
Yes. Thank you, Manscaped. Making buzzing things in your luggage safe for brown men everywhere. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear.
Oh, I was going somewhere else with a Weed Whacker. Yeah. That's for your nose.
Yeah, for your nose.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, totally safe. So that's cocaine, though, right? Your nose weed is cocaine? Manscaped does not sell cocaine. Disclaimer.
No.
I felt like it was safe.
Not
I
anymore.
needed to say that. Not anymore. Abort hairy balls and Buzz Lightyear that Woody with Manscaped.
This is serious. I don't know why everyone's laughing. This is serious stuff.
Yeah, no. So get 20% off plus free shipping by going to manscaped.com/fatman. That's 20% off plus free shipping by going to manscaped.com/fatman, Fatman, for a clean trinity and beyond. Your space balls will thank you. Thanks, you guys. I feel dirty in a weirdly antiseptic way.
Then use one.
All right.
You feel super clean afterwards.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Changed my life.
Like high stepping?
But I've only got a 3.0. I didn't know about the 4.0.
You got to fucking step up.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like I should get one now. Sold one.
It'll change your life. Now is the part of the show where we would talk about the things that we may or may not have seen in the world. What are you watching these days, man? Other than
thanks
football.
to Jacob sitting over there, I'm watching Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta.
Wow. How is the Mobile Suit Gundam?
It's great. So, I've watched that. Oh yeah, I'm on it. It's the thing I love about the original Gundam shows from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Is how often someone gets slapped. It's so fucked. It's every 5 seconds someone is just getting backhanded in the mouth and then told to be more of a this or that. It's
This seems like a weird military.
Yeah.
That's the only corporal punishment is slapping people.
Yeah, and I think that's like we could bring that back. That's fine. I don't like that's better than a prison sentence or something. Just a good backhand in your mouth.
I'm getting flashbacks
and then a hug
to like 5th grade. That also seems like awfully dramatic.
Yes,
because a backhand is not like you just don't fucking like. Pff. That's a wind up, and there's like speed lines and shit to get to the other face, and then a big sound effect that may or may not appear as type on screen of whack, and then somebody's like, oh.
Yeah, you got to have the when you're backhanded, it has to be that. Whereas I think the front one is more.
Because also you're surprised that you didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Because a backhand is like a fucking wind up. You got to do all of that motion to get there. Like a quick pap. That's like fucking cats do that shit.
When did we stop slapping people with gloves? I don't feel like we do that enough. Like
yeah. Well, we don't wear gloves as much anymore. I think they went out with capes. I feel like if you were like a cloak and a cane dude, you also had gloves with which
the white gloves.
Yeah, you just tuck into your fucking waistcoat, like right under your little chain that had your monocle on it. He's like, fuck yeah, I got my slapping gloves, bitch. We're not.
We can do it with masks now.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, you need to weight the masks though. You gotta fill the mask with like a roll of cords.
Oh, that's some prison shit.
Well, you need. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Or like a tiny bag of oranges, like a little bit of tangerines in your mask.
A clementine in your mask.
I have never seen any Mobile Suit Gundam, any whatever suffix you had at the end of that.
Zeta.
Zeta. Oh, I've missed. I haven't seen the alphas or the betas.
You haven't seen Double Zeta and
Fuck.
Thunderbolt, and there's so many of them.
I'm never going to.
No, and that's fair. It's you know what it is. It's just because when it's the researcher in me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to build a Gundam just because I was interested with the design of it, right? And what happens is that I can't just do it and then not know anything about it. So then I go into the deep dive and start. So, okay, let me watch this documentary about it. Let me understand the culture behind it. Let me understand who it is I'm building and what these things are. And then it led me to watching the show. And that's how it just bled into. It's just it always happens for me. I get super fixated on a particular thing and I'll drop it just as quick as I picked it up. But I'm very intense for a few months on one topic. And that's, like when I was doing iZombie for about a month, I lived and breathed autopsies. Like, I was looking at the worst shit you could find on the internet. I was watching real autopsies. I was watching footage of people exhuming coffins.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, then I was interviewing pathologists. Then I went to a morgue and looked at real, murder victims in the fridges. And then once we were done, And when you think about iZombie, because you've seen it,
Yeah.
it was a waste of time of doing that, isn't it?
It's a lot.
I mostly just held rats and like fucking wore stupid outfits.
Yes, somebody was spending a lot of time very artfully photographing brain food
Yeah.
to make it look like delicious food.
Yeah.
But no, you went deep, and I think the writers would have appreciated the level of detail that you were
It
bringing.
never played into it. They didn't care. But what it did breed, what I was lucky enough to see was like, you just need a small thing, and it was how comfortable the medical examiner was in their space, in their workspace. The humor, the dark humor that they had, that we took straight away. And
Gotcha.
yeah, and so I have that same kind of thing towards Gundam. It's just because I started building one, I need to watch the shows, I need to watch everything, I need to see it all. I listen to the soundtrack in the car. It's a mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you. Because it sounds like it's working out.
So far, yeah. But in about a month, people will still be tweeting me about it. I'm like, stop tweeting me about Gundams. I don't give a shit. Because that's how quick I'll just like switch off.
Fuck off. Have you watched any of What If?
No. Oh, the Marvel
Yes.
What If? Nah.
No. Have you guys seen the What Ifs? How do we feel about the What If as... Sure. Because the thing about it is, each one is a very specific siloed experience, right? Like every episode is a standalone, which sort of leads one to believe that you don't have to feel the same way about all of them.
Okay.
Who loved Captain Carter? Who loved T'Challa Star-Lord? And who loved Agatha Christie's We're Killing All the Avengers? I feel like that is about where I am with it as well, for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
You know? But even if you take away the just emotional detonation you get in your soul to hear Chadwick Boseman do T'Challa for the last time.
That was his last recording.
That's his last role. Was like, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And he's so light on his feet, and he's having the best time. And so that automatically becomes like weepy and shit when you're just watching. It's like, he's having a good time. But it's also a really fun episode.
Yeah.
Like it's and the what if conceit of it is, I think, the most fully realized. Captain Carter is also a ton of fun, and it's gorgeous. And
Is that voiced by...
it's Haley. Like,
Yeah, Haley, yeah,
They
Haley Atwell.
spent all the money and got almost everybody back. You know, there's a couple of like, oh, well, they didn't get Robert Downey Jr. back because who are we kidding? And like, that's not really Chris Evans. And but everybody else is like, oh fuck, there's Sebastian Stan, and there's Samuel L. Jackson, and there's
sweet.
Jeremy Renner, and there's that one felt a little like it was too close to the first Avengers storyline, just swapping out Peggy for Steve.
Yeah.
And so it started to get a bit predictable. Like you could see the boxes they were going to check. But it's still fun.
Have they done a What If a Fantastic Four movie was good?
I think that's still in process. I think they're still working on that.
Yeah.
I've seen the internet embrace the idea
Oh,
of you.
John Krasinski.
No. I mean, that was a couple of years ago. Everybody's like, he's fine. He's married to Emily Blunt. He's good. But I've seen quite a bit of Rahul as Reed Richards.
Well, thanks. I'm being a cynic here. It's because I sort of look like Brown Jim. Like I'm not. I was getting Brown Jim on iZombie trailers. So I've always had this like. I can kind of vaguely see it when I have a beard and that, but like I've always and so what I thought was we want John Krasinski, and then it was like or the brown version of John Krasinski. So I felt like I'm not getting it because I'm right for Reed Richards. I'm getting it because I'm like a tan John Krasinski if you don't get John Krasinski. But that's me being a cynic.
True, but also...
And I'm going grey.
You're going grey.
Yeah.
But also, however you get it.
Sure.
Like, you can be the 2 a.m. John
You've
Krasinski.
seen my social media. Disney aren't hiring me in a fucking heartbeat. We'll have to clean that up first before Feige calls. But yeah, it's flattering. Of course it is. Like the fan cast and stuff is super flattering.
Yeah.
It reached like a ridiculous fever pitch with Rebels with Ezra Bridger, which I don't have. So, I've stopped encouraging it because, like with anything in the internet, they always find a way to make it go bad. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
I was watching Rebels one morning, and I knew that there was this comic book because someone tweeted like, Disney are looking for a South Asian representation to play Ezra Bridger. And that was in the back of my head for a while. And then I was going to the gym while I was shooting Midnight Mass, and I went, just about to go get into low-fall orphan shape. Something like that. and then I was working out, finished, got on my phone. My manager had called me. There were articles. I had texts from people. Congratulations. And I was like, oh no. And I look, and I had made him trend, and I was like, I didn't know anyone gave a shit. This was stupid. I was just doing a thing. So people were like, so I started having fun with it. So I did a video apology immediately, saying that's not true. I am not in The Mandalorian. I'm not Ezra Bridger. But I had the music playing in the car. Because I'm a troll.
Yeah,
and I thought,
well.
you lot are fucking grown-ups. Like, I'm trolling. When would Disney let an actor do that? Like, use just common sense. They'd never let you do that. And then Boss Logic got involved, and he does the art and stuff. And then everyone gets over it and go, he was playing. That was fun. It was fun to see support for a character and Rebels fans. And then it gets nasty, and then it's like, you'll never be Ezra Bridger, you fucking not my Ezra, you prick. And you're like, all right, I'm not doing this no more. So even like, so I get the dopest, like, Reed Richards art, and people want me as the Doctor in Doctor Who, and they want, like, I'm always getting thrown in this stuff. And honestly, for a kid who used to, like, role play as Bruce Wayne, and, like, that was the kid I was. There was no ceilings, right? I wanted to be these guys. And then to see others agree with you, even if it's a small amount, that's one of the most wonderful feelings, particularly being a person of color, is when people are like, no, you are Mr. Fantastic to us. You don't need to be white. So every time I see that, and I see that engagement, and I hear the cheers and that kind of thing, it really, really touches me, and it means a lot to me. I can't publicly support it anymore, because it just gets nasty, and it turns into, like, I'm panhandling, or I'm begging for this, or I'm out of work, I'm unemployed, I'm there, like, it just gets so nasty. But if they want me to do it, fine, I'll do it.
I'll twist my arm if I got to.
If I can work something out or whatever. I don't know.
All of which is to say, you should watch What If.
I will,
because it's gorgeous.
I didn't realize that that Chadwick had voiced it. That alone is, I want to boot that up for sure.
And the ways they tweak the Guardians and that entire world is super fun and super fun. And they got all the fucking voices back. Yeah. Like Benicio del Toro comes back to play the Collector because what else is he doing? And it sounds like the kind of thing he'd find just fucking fun. Like, that tickles me. I'll do it.
I know what he's doing because I auditioned for it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he's doing something.
Yeah, no, I believe he's working.
I literally just did an audition for one of the projects he was in. Yeah.
All right, that is the legit kind of all I'm watching, because I'm also in a.
Are you playing anything?
I'm playing the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The Siege of Paris DLC, which they just dropped. And, it is less because the story is, like, it's perfectly well written. I really dig it. But I just want to fucking murk people in the streets. Like, I just want to be on a rooftop and I'm going to kill that dude. What do you do? Nothing. It is my getting my sort of NWA fantasies out, but in period. It's like cosplay NWA. It was like, I didn't have to use my Sith today. Yeah. But I did, because I'd fucking just kill people.
Sweet.
It's kind of fun. What else am I playing? I was playing the beta for Back 4 Blood. Did you ever play Left 4 Dead?
Yes, but very, like, not. I didn't get super into it, but yeah, I played it.
Yeah, like back in the day, like there were a bunch of it. It ended up being this weird screenwriter / comic book writers would all go on Left 4 Dead and then like break story while killing zombies. You know, she'd be like, oh, it's just fucking Left 4 Dead. It's like, oh, yeah, there's Fraction and there's Bendis, and what are we talking about today? Oh, I'm talking about fucking...
No way. So it became like an online forum, got like a lobby.
A little bit, yeah. Like if you knew the names and you knew the times that they were going on, you can just stumble in and fucking hang out with those dudes. And so I did that a lot. And also killing zombies cooperatively is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you guys have done that, but like it's really fun when you and your buddies, because it's a team building exercise, really. But Back 4 Blood is the sort of next gen console version. That was on the original Xbox, the 360. And so this is the updated version. And it's still super fun, but it's a beta, so there's like a little bit to play. Yeah. But it remains cool to kill zombies. I don't know if you know that.
I wouldn't know about that.
No?
I cure them. I don't kill them.
Oh.
I would be against you in our world.
You know.
Vehemently against you.
I'm sorry. You know, there was going to have to be the Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
And the fallout, yeah.
And the zombie. Like, we would be just diametrically opposed on how we should treat zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know there shouldn't be lots of them. It's not great. But you would save them and convert them, and I would kill them.
So you're Malcolm X?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm the by any means necessary dude.
And I'm Dr. King.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to do photoshops or fan casting. Please, can you not? Yes. I don't actually want to play Dr. King. I've got to be explicit about stuff like that.
I know. I realized as we started going down into this cul-de-sac, it was a bad idea. It's like, we should like back out of here quickly, but I didn't. I kept going. I'm glad you the saner mind prevailed.
Yeah, I've got you.
Should we do some news?
Sure.
Let's talk about some news. Now's the part of the show where I, as a former newsman, put back on my press cap, which I keep, my agence chapeau. I pull out of the closet and put it back on, and then I hunt for news.
Okay.
Which is really just me copying, pasting from like Deadline and Collider and shit. I'm not breaking news. I don't care that much.
Well, I haven't looked at the internet today, so this breaking to me.
Ooh.
So breaking.
It's new
breaking
to you.
is relative to who knows it.
Very much so. Were you a fan of The Rocketeer?
I was in it. Did you know that? You didn't know that?
I didn't know you were in The Rocketeer.
So there's a Disney Junior Rocketeer animation that came out a year ago.
Motherfucker, you were born in '85. How are you in The Rocketeer?
So technically, Disney did work with me despite my tweets. I play one of the characters' dads in that animated show, which won Emmys.
Excellent.
Which I didn't get invited to.
I bet you it was like the Creative Arts Emmys, and those are the most fun.
Prime time.
Oh, those are the worst.
I don't even know what that is. But I brag about it, but I don't know what it is.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So then you've seen The Rocketeer.
Yes, a long time ago. Yeah.
There have been lots of rumblings and attempts to sort of rejuvenate the IP. And I think that for people like me who grew up with the original Rocketeer, it's an amazing movie. If you've never seen it, it is the best superhero movie that nobody gets credit for being a superhero movie. It's so lovely and it's full of so much heart. It's Raiders plus fucking jetpacks. Yeah. Like, who doesn't love that? Disney Plus has now greenlit a new Rocketeer called Return of the Rocketeer, which is being produced and potentially starring David Oyelowo.
Dr. King.
Dr. fucking King.
It fucking came back.
All comes around.
Look how we did that.
Oh, see? It's just like we do this every week. Yes, and I think the refit of it is it's still the same jetpack that Cliff Secord gets, but now falls into the hands of an old Tuskegee Airman who gets his hands on it. And a lot of it is about, and I think it's an intergenerational story, so it's him and his kid. But the idea of repositioning this beautiful old IP, that's a period story, but then being honest with the period that you're in and telling that version of it. I can't fucking wait.
That's a great show. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I'm all for it. Does anybody want more Rocketeer?
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, please. How about more Jungle Cruise? Because we're getting more Jungle Cruise. Did you know that?
I feel like we were gonna.
Yeah.
Right? It did well.
It did well. It made $100 million at the box office, which, given the box office we're currently in, is like $1 billion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Titanic.
It's Titanic money, for sure. And I have the feeling that if The Rock wanted to make another one, they weren't going to say no, because I don't feel like he's a dude you say no to a lot. because I've seen his cheat meals and I've seen his workout plans. And
is it those pancakes?
Yeah, where it's just mounds of fucking pancakes.
He looks like he robbed an IHOP. Like, it's ridiculous. You don't need to be that. I went to a gym once, and he was there.
What?
Yeah. So I was. This was back in London years ago. The gym I went to is called Bulldog's Gym.
Oh, tough.
And Bulldog owned it, and Bulldog at the time was the Guinness World Record holder for squats. And that gym was like, you needed a tetanus shot before you went in. Like, everything was rusty. Every now and again, you'd hear someone scream because a cable snapped, and like they would fly in. When we would do rope pull downs, the thing was fraying, and we walk in like one afternoon, and the Rock is just there. This is like behind a supermarket. This is a very like low key sort of place, and the Rock is in there doing squats with Bulldog. This is for Fast and Furious that was in London.
Oh.
It was like 7 or something. I don't know, like 6?
It was, yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I've never seen him. But
maybe, 7 is the one, I think, where he and Vin Diesel didn't talk to each other and like weren't on screen at the same time.
Oh.
Ever. Yeah.
I want one of those.
Yeah, I know.
I want one of those feuds. I'm going to like make one happen.
It's a good feud.
Yeah, absolutely. I want one where they go, Rahul shot this separately because he didn't want to talk to Rose. I was just thinking of someone sweet that I shouldn't have beef with.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Rock was in there, and on paper we're the same height, but we're not. Does that make sense? When someone's so big and famous, they were bigger than you, and they were still, but they're the same height as you. It just didn't make sense as proportions. I was looking up, but we're the same height. And it's like thighs, they didn't make sense. They were just, they're like 3 of mine. I'd still say no to him.
Yeah, well, all right.
To work out with him, I would definitely be like, nah, shove up your ass. I'm not scared of you. I ain't working out with you, mate. Fucking skip leg day.
I met him once. It was the first time that I had been in LA as like a normal person. He was a kid, but I was a grown-ass man. And I was visiting a friend who was living in Calabasas. And so I flew out, went to his house, and he's like, I gotta hit the supermarket, I gotta go to Ralph's, which I didn't know what it was coming from New York. It's fucking Ralph's.
Oh, you're from New York?
I am.
Which part?
I was born in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Grew up on the South Shore of Long Island, and then moved to Jersey, and then from Jersey out to LA.
And then out to LA, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm in Ralph's with my friend Adam, and we're walking down these fucking things buying, I don't remember what the hell we were buying. It's nothing good. We're 2 fat dudes. So it's not like we were vegetables. And so we're walking down the frozen aisle, and on the other end of the frozen aisle is The Rock. And look, with a fucking carriage, like he's pushing a cart, he's shopping.
Yeah. And
like you can see the windows fogging up as he would pass by in the frozen aisle, like he's just radiating heat.
Yeah.
And at the time, Adam and I had written this comic book called Monster Attack Network, and Disney had optioned it to make it a movie, and their plan was The Rock was going to be the star.
Oh.
So we were like, we should go introduce ourselves to The Rock because he's going to be in our movie. And that's not weird at all. 2 dudes rolling up on a dude saying,
in the frozen aisle, you're
going to be in our movie. So Adam was all for it. I'm kind of holding back. I'm like, dude, this feels weird. Like, I don't want to ask this girl to dance. And so we then just followed him around the store.
That's not weird. Yeah, that's what you do.
You know, like I'm trying to build up my courage, and Adam's
Sure.
like, fuck it, let's go in. He's like a dude doing double dutch. Like, he's just ready to fucking dive in. And I'm like, I don't know about this, man. I'm going to get all tripped up. He's like, no, fucking go. And so we're following him around the store, and we finally get to like the checkout aisle, and he's like pulling in, and we're coming around, and then he swivels on us. And he's like, can I help you?
He knew you were stalking him.
And he's like, what do you want?
This is exactly what you want to happen for someone to be in your movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is going exactly the right way.
For sure. And so I said, well, we just wanted to see what The Rock was cooking.
You are very successful and wonderfully talented, and I think that you fucked up so bad then he may still not want to work with you.
He like gave us the people's eyebrow and just went back to his life of, eating turkeys by the fistful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is my Rock story.
That's amazing.
It's not bad. So yeah, they're making another Jungle Cruise
Yeah.
because that's what this news story
Well,
was.
you got to pay for all that protein and pancakes. That shit's not free.
No, although you'd think he'd have like IHOP endorsements by now. Like Denny's is like the NFL has a tire endorsing. We are the official tires of the NFL. Like, why doesn't he have we're the official pancakes of The Rock?
Sure, because I feel like he promotes that stuff. But isn't that protein pancakes? They're different.
Yeah, but like,
I don't want anyone to believe that you can go IHOP, eat 16 of those, and get shredded. I think they're special pancakes. Yeah.
But Denny's was smart.
Oh yeah, sure, protein pancake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he sells booze. Like he's not selling like crazy health nut.
Did you ever go to Denny's when they had the Solo promotion?
No.
They had a Solo themed menu. Yeah, and I went with you guys. Bruce, is Bruce there? What was the name of the what did they change the Grand Slam to for Solo? Can you remember? It was a Millennium Falcon something. Yeah, it was ridiculous, but like everything was themed.
Of course
It was a good summer.
The only time I did that was when I think Denny's did a Hobbit promotion. And so it was like eat like a
You
Hobbit.
get second breakfast.
Yeah, lots of like Hobbiton pancakes and like dancing pony waffles or whatever the fuck. It's the same shit with just like weird different
they just
icing on
theme
it. Like, oh, this icing's shorter. It's a short stack because they're hobbits.
There you go.
Fuck. So yeah, Jungle Cruise 2 is happening. We all care, apparently.
Have you seen Jungle Cruise 1?
I did see Jungle Cruise 1.
Is it good?
It's fine.
Oh.
I mean, like at home in my house for $30, it's a little overpriced.
Yeah.
But it's also a movie I was not going to go out and see. Like I wasn't going to like dance into the theater for Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
But I had a good time with it. Silly, but fun.
Good fun for the family.
It's like Romancing the Stone.
Oh,
And I
I
haven't
used to love that as a kid.
Yeah, so it's got some of that like Spencer Tracy, like Hepburn and Tracy, like banter stuff. The special effects are pretty cool, but it's an adventure and we're solving clues and all of that shit. It's fun.
Well, when a movie is named after a Disney ride, I'm not expecting, Saving Private Ryan.
Although I would ride that ride.
That would be a ride, yeah.
dope
The other way
fucking
around,
ride.
my expectations are high,
Yes.
for sure.
I'm going to storm this beach, yeah.
But that's why Pirates of the Caribbean came out of left field, because I think everyone thought that was dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And it
movie's
was
great.
incredible, the first one.
That movie's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because the energy of that movie is watching Johnny Depp steal a movie out from the dude who thought he was the lead. Like, Orlando Bloom is convinced that that's his movie,
Yeah.
and I think he probably still is. And just watching the grand larceny of a dude just like stealing every scene he's in to the point where it's like, well, where's that guy?
But I love it when every now and again there's a movie where that actor they know they're killing it. Everyone around them knows they're killing it. Like everyone, and I truly believe this about actors, non-actors. We all have that one performance in us that kills. That is just, like Heath's Joker. When you watch it, it's goosebumps. And you know that the crew and everyone around them, when someone is doing stuff like that, it's just like, it's incredible. And I felt that way watching Jungle Cruise. No, I didn't. I hadn't seen it. I was just bringing it back on topic because I was losing everyone because I was jizzing over.
Yeah. No, but like, to your point, like, watching Usual Suspects, like, I like that movie a lot. Benicio del Toro in that movie is like next level in a completely different movie, and you can tell the movie's starting to bend around him. Like, we don't know what to do with this. This energy, we don't know. I'll flip you for real.
Flip you.
Like,
Flip you.
what is he?
Yeah.
Huh? It's Malkovich in that fucking poker movie.
Yeah.
He's like, pay that man his money.
Do you know, I was
Rounders.
watched There Will Be Blood recently.
Ooh.
And I saw it in the cinema. I'm a big Daniel Day-Lewis fan. And when I watched that movie, I could only watch him. No one else existed in that movie. And I watched it again. And I think it was Alana that pointed out Paul Dano in that.
Oh, he's great.
Oh my God. He's so good. Like, it's a shame that you're next to Daniel Day-Lewis because I couldn't see you, bro. Because Daniel is like, the whole way I'm just, everything Daniel does, I'm just like, but Dano is incredible. And I think, and this is my prediction, I think he's going to do it on the Batman. Yeah. I think everyone's going to be great. I think we're going to walk away going like Paul Dano.
Woo! I remember watching There Will Be Blood and just keep being confused about where the vampires were. And like, oh, it's about oil. Oh, so he's gonna kill that dude, right? Like he's gonna fucking suck his blood? No, because he's like a plains vampire. Yeah. He's hungry, and it's not that movie.
It's not. It should be.
2, the sequel.
Yeah. There's blood again.
Yes.
There will be bloods.
Yeah. And now there
will be bloods.
There will be bloods. Yeah. Nice.
This is why I'm not a writer.
Yeah. Starring Ice Cube.
Nice.
Are you even though you've been in a couple horror movies, TV shows, are you a horror fan?
Hate it.
Yeah?
Can't fucking stand it. I hate horror. I can't sit through it. I had to watch Hill House to prepare for Blind Manor. I was so fucking upset. And my meeting with Mike Flanagan, my first meeting with him, went like this. Nice to meet you. How you doing? All right. Thanks for coming up. Cool. I'm so fucking upset with you over that jump scare in the car. Like, what is fucking wrong with you? And luckily he laughed, but I was like, you guys know what I'm talking about, the car seat where they're riding and Victoria screams. I was so scared I didn't jump scare. I was frozen in fear. I didn't scream, I didn't move, I just was like, inside I lost it. Yeah, I hate it. And then I just started asking questions about Ewan McGregor because he just did Dr. Sleep. I didn't want to talk about Bly. I was like, so what's Obi-Wan like? Is he as Obi-Wan as I think he is?
Did he show his dick? I think he likes to show his dick a lot. I similarly, I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to horror. Yeah. So I did not see Candyman this past weekend.
I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
For that one?
Yeah.
Did anybody else see the Candymans? No, not yet. Are you gonna?
It's. I gotta make sure. So it's not a complete reboot. We're doing this again. You need to. You should. It is a sequel, right? Would you say that you shouldn't go into it not have seen the original? Okay.
Yeah. I saw the original one 30 years ago, because old-ass man. I remember digging it because Tony Todd is the fucking Mac, and so I will follow that dude wherever. I am not going to go see this movie, because I am that person who's like, I don't want it in my face. I don't like it.
But you can do it at home. Horror's not as bad at home than it is in the theater, right?
I don't know, because I haven't seen a horror movie in a theater in... I think The Ring was the last horror movie I saw in a theater.
My best friend, Bo, accidentally, doesn't like horror, accidentally saw Paranormal Activity. Before anyone knew about it, I don't know how he got to an early screening, and he went on a date and had no idea what to expect, and it rocked him to his fucking core. He was petrified for like weeks. I've not done it. I'm not doing it in a theater. I just think that's crazy. I'm not doing that.
Will not happen. But it was number one at the box office this past weekend, and we keep finding ourselves in these weird places where we would like to celebrate the first of something, except it's a thing it's weird to have to celebrate. But Candyman was the first movie to open at number one at the box office, directed by a black woman.
Oh wow!
Which is awesome for Nia DaCosta, who's currently shooting The Marvels for Marvel. Like
of course, yeah.
She's blowing up in a big way. It's kind of sad that like we're still here, like checking off firsts of a thing that should no longer be a first. No, it should be the latest.
Yeah.
But alas, we're.
But it won't be the last.
It won't be the last.
And that's the main thing.
That's the thing we can take solace in. I would ask you if you were a fan of the Werewolf by Night comic books from Marvel, but if you're a wussy, maybe not.
I've never heard of them.
Werewolf by Night was back in like the 70s when Marvel was on their horror kick. That's where like Blade and Tomb of Dracula and all that stuff comes from. Werewolf by Night was one of those books. And so now Disney Plus is making a live action, I believe, Werewolf by Night movie as a Halloween special that I think, 2022, I think. I'm gonna watch it because I'm hoping Disney Plus won't actually scare my bowels clean. But you never can tell.
I think you're safe.
Are you sure? Because
Disney Plus ain't going to go that hard until they have some sort of clear do they have parental controls on Disney Plus? Or is it all just mixed right now?
I mean, I think you can.
Oh, they are going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, not yet, because I think they're like, you come to Disney Plus, you don't think you're going to get porn.
You can watch animals fuck, though.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Meerkat Manor.
I have been on that tab.
The animals fucking tab.
I watched Mandalorian because that's why I got Disney Plus, and I was like, now what? Oh, sharks, meerkats fucking apparently, Göbekli Tepe, Aztecs. Like I've been on that tab. That's been a wonderful extra subscription. Yeah.
Look at you.
Jump on that. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, my good man.
Wine gets me rosé. I get scrappy. I throw hands. Yeah, rosé. Rosé messes me up, man.
Outstanding.
I can't hold my rosé.
The rosé wave is going to hit me in the face. Did you watch Manifest on the NBCs?
No.
Currently, it's on the Netflixes. And
Manifest.
So it got canceled on NBC.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
4 seasons, I believe, it went on NBC and then got canceled.
I have
three
strong
seasons.
opinions
My
about
bad.
the news you're about to deliver.
So, 3 seasons it went on NBC. Apparently, nobody watched it on NBC. So they canceled it. That's how that's how that checks out. But Netflix, motherfuckers were just binging it like it was made of gold. And the viewership on Netflix is through the roof.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To the point where when NBC canceled it, there was a whole Save Manifest movement.
Yeah.
You know, the fans got out, they marched, they sent in peanuts or plane tickets or whatever the fuck that movement was. And but Netflix was like, nah, we're not going to do it. We're thinking about it. This doesn't work out for us. But then they kept watching the show to the point where they said, all right, you know what? Fuck it. We will do a final season, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
They got all the actors back. They got the director and the showrunners back. And so Manifest is doing that which a handful of shows have done before. Yeah. Which is, rescue a stalemate from the jaws of defeat. Mm-hmm. And
is that Brooklyn Nine-Nine was another one, right?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine was
Lucifer,
another one.
I think, was
Lucifer.
saved.
Lucifer was the big Netflix move.
Yeah.
Was they came in, it got canceled on Fox, and then it came to Netflix. And then they made 14 more seasons of Lucifer.
Supergirl did that, right? CBS?
They went from CBS first season.
It was a sister company, but they moved as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the question that I have about it, and I'm thrilled for all of the actors and performers and the creators and the fans specifically, they wanted this. It's how the Netflix ecosystem is so strong that they can make a hit out of a show that was a flop on another network. Yeah. And so what does that say about NBC? What does that say about broadcast as a viable sort of engine going forward for delivering you content if they can't keep their own shows alive? Yeah. And then there was apparently a bit of a bidding war between Netflix and then the Peacock, which is the NBC. That would have been what felt like the logical thing. It's like, we got the show that's a hit on the one service, and if we make more of it, we can put it on our service, and those people will show up. But even Peacock didn't think that they could monetize it like that.
Oh, wow.
So it's, I'm gaming it out in my head, which is why they didn't offer what Netflix offered, which was, A, we have your first 3 seasons. We know people are watching it. We can close it out with a bang. And we can bring more eyes to it than anybody else can bring to it. And it's just the health and robustness of Netflix as a service compared to almost everybody else. Yeah. They can make hits that nobody else can make. Yeah. And that is an ecosystem, that is a shift in the business that I would not have foreseen 5 years ago. For sure. And just the relative weakness of broadcast and the newness of all these streaming services. Like Disney Plus could maybe do it if they wanted to. Netflix clearly can. Amazon doesn't give a shit, but they could try. Like, we'll spend $500 million on this, and then also we'll bring back this show that you love, which they did actually with what the fuck is the Expanse?
Yeah.
Like they pull that off of Sci-Fi when they cancel it. It says, well, fuck it. Jeff Bezos loves it, so we'll make 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
That's how they do that shit. That's their math. It's like, does the big guy like it? Was there ever any talk of that for iZombie?
Fuck no. No, I to be honest, like there is still people that want a 6th season. And I don't mean to be mean-spirited, but why? So for me, I like to be sure, and there's other stuff you can watch us in. For me, I felt that we had told our story before we stopped telling our story. It's a nice way to put that. And I have such deep love for that show, but I don't think you want to watch people limping, and there's something to be said for particularly the British culture where TV's concerned, where they stop making them at its height. When you want it most, it's done. And that's it. And I love that idea. And then you come to America and it's a little different. You'll get 14 seasons of a show people stopped wanting after its 2nd season. So yeah, with iZombie, there's a small demand for it, but I think it's one of those things where it's very easy to ask, but I think rarely do people follow through. I think if we made a 6th season, no one would watch it because they wouldn't. Because it's easy to go, I want this, and you go, here, I'll do it for you, and then go, I ain't fucking watching it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like whenever I do these Gundam builds and everyone's like, oh my God, can you make a YouTube channel and stream this? And I'll be like, okay, but then only 4 of you will watch. Because it's easy to ask, but to find the time to actually go follow through and support something is completely different. So yeah, it would be nice to see Ravi and Liv and some other characters get together, and Clive's my favourite person and Malcolm's my favourite human being in the entire world. I'd pay so much money just to be in the morgue and do one scene with those two. That was the thing. But it's not going to be as good. And no, we're doing other stuff and we're happy. But yeah, like I get very worried about, I got in a bit of trouble with Zack Snyder fans.
Really? I don't understand. They've always been very reasonable to me.
But I made a bit of a mistake. I had tweeted. I did say something. And I haven't spoken about this because I got in a bit of trouble for it. But I worried. I had as a person of color. Yeah. I worried that in Zach's case, with the support that the fandom had shown him in delivering his final cut. While that was a positive thing for Zach, for the people involved, for him, for the actors, for those who had committed to making that story, and then that story wasn't then seen by people, I understood how that benefited that. I worried that by not just that project, but by setting a precedent that enough screaming and shouting gets you something, and teaching the internet that, when it used to be a bit more closed off, could be used for bad. For instance, if they decided to cast a South Asian British actor as Mr. Fantastic, is fan pressure and bullying enough to make Disney to reverse that decision when they take a risk? If there's enough of that, do they then walk it back? Does that empower those to say, well, we have control? So if a season or a show is picked up by a streaming service, does that again send the message of, if you harass us, if we say to you, oh my God, watch this new Netflix show, and every tweet underneath it is #SaveManifest, and it's just bombarded that it works. And I worried about that in the case of giving people from diverse backgrounds, telling stories about trans community, doing something that would be deemed as risky, that as telling stories or giving voice to those that hadn't before. If they decided to take that route, does that sort of say to them, if you make enough noise, we may walk it back. You do have more power than you think, and that's why I worried about that. So that's what I worried about. And then I booked a Zack Snyder show. And then they were like, oh, talking shit about our mans, and you had to work with him. And I was like, he doesn't care because I wasn't having a go at you lot. I was just worried. I was like, hey, chill on the, because I worry. I'm trying to protect creatives and, anyway.
It's a legitimate worry to have. My worry was a little bit different because I came to the same place as you were, which is I love that Zach got to make his movie. I like Zach. I've met Zach.
Yeah, he's a wonderful human.
He's a super nice guy. Yeah. And so I don't particularly like many of the movies he makes, but I like him as a person. So the fact that he gets to be an artist and get his vision out there, all for it. Artists should get to do that. What I didn't like was that some of the people who were asking for it the most were also the same people who were doxing journalists for potentially having negative things to say about it.
Sure.
And those people were levying all kinds of threats from the mildest to the most extreme at people who are, they didn't have to be friends, but they happened to be friends. Mm-hmm. Many of them were women, and many of them were journalists of color.
Yeah.
And so that level of venality and just antipathy was worrisome to me. And I hated the idea that those people got what they wanted. And so I said that out loud, and as I did right now, and got some shit for it, as potentially I deserved. But the way I always look at it is like Netflix did not renew Manifest because of the Save Manifest movement.
Correct.
They did it because the algorithm told them they could make money.
Yeah.
HBO Max needed a big splashy thing to launch a streaming service with, and they had this, and it's like, well, we could spend another $20 million and finish it, and this can be a giant thing that we can roll out of the barn. Those things do collide.
They do, because the hashtag and the noise does let them know there is a built-in audience for that. So that in that respect, it does it's indicative that would be something.
It emboldens a business decision they were probably going to make anyway.
Sure.
With a little bit of backup, a little bit of defense, a little bit of cover in case of the fans want it.
Don't Warner Brothers own HBO?
Yeah.
These are the same people.
It's all the same people.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got here.
Oh, because it was Manifest. It was Manifest. It was Manifest.
Right.
Yeah.
So listen, as I was happy for fans of Lucifer, of which I count myself one of a Lucifer fan, was thrilled when it came back for more episodes. I'm thrilled for the fans of Manifest. I'm thrilled the storytellers get to finish their story. I'm thrilled when artists get to come to the ending of their tale, because it so rarely happens in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So many things are cut short. So many things are put through a system that automatically makes you compromise the thing you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so that anybody gets to do what they wanted the way they wanted to is a miracle.
And going back to, sorry to cut you off, but going back to iZombie, it was such a gift to know that a bubble show that had such poor audience numbers, we weren't doing great, but we had such a wonderful following. We were told when we did the fifth season, because we were never, we weren't like The Flash where you knew you was coming back every year. We were told every January to pack your shit and go home. And then we'd wait till May, and a day before the upfronts, Mark Petowitz and everyone would contact Rob and say, you're coming back. So we always wrapped for good when we finished iZombie, and we were always renewed from the dead. To be told when we finished season 4, you can come back and do one more season, and you're out. You tell your story and you wrap it up, you put a bow on it, is such a rare gift. Like, that's why I'm so appreciative of the CW. I'm so because hearing how often shows are just, and you're done. Right. That's the common trait, to be able to put a final chapter out and kill it.
Yeah.
It's a
such
gift.
a luxury.
Yeah.
We have one last news story. It's a little bit of a downer, but I never like to look at these things as depressing. But Ed Asner, the great Ed Asner, died. Natural causes, peacefully in his sleep at 91 years old. He won more Emmys than any man has ever won before. 7, I think, 5 of them for Lou Grant.
No way.
And then a couple of others as time went on. I don't think anybody would call him a nerd, per se, or a geek, at least to his face. But he has had a hand in not just Up, which is glorious and wonderful, or Elf.
Yeah.
What's happening? You all can hear that though, right? Like it's not just me.
That's
the scary shit when you're like, what? Anybody smell toast burning? Is that what that is? Ah, excellent. Thank you. But yeah, and so not just Elf, not just Up, but a ton of like voice work.
It was
Granny Goodness.
I was just watching Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome. He's Johnny's stepdad in that.
I think he's a dude who likes to fucking work.
Yeah.
Pardon.
And his range as well.
His range is insane. Let's see. He was J. Jonah Jameson in the 1990 Spider-Man series. He was Hoggish Greedley on Captain Planet: The Planeteers. Roland Daggett on Batman the Animated Series.
No way.
Ed Wunkler on Boondocks. And Granny Goodness in a bunch of DC shit.
Yeah.
And so, like, he was a fucking worker, and he was a stuntman. He was a curmudgeon, apparently both on screen and off. But, you know, fucking sing the man's praises. Like, he worked for 70 years and loved doing it.
Yeah.
And apparently was also a deeply committed philanthropist and deeply invested in social causes, and put his money where his mouth was in big, bad ways. So, yeah, I mean, raise a glass, fucking Ed Asner, boys and girls.
Ed Asner.
His star is right outside?
His star's right outside.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's go pour one out on Ed. One for you, bro. And that is the end of the news, my friend.
That's been some news.
That's been some news.
Rocketeer.
We have one more ad to read. We do, and then we're going to do Q&A. And you guys, the ads today are fucking saucy.
Are they sexy?
Because,
Why
like,
is it sexy themed?
the first ad was all about getting your balls smooth. The second ad is all about...
Getting them hairy?
You might think. That seemed to be how I was setting that up. But, yeah, the first one was about getting your rocket smooth. The second one was about getting your rocket to take off.
Oh!
Blue Chew, boys and girls. Blue fucking Chew. It's summer, camping season. Let's talk about pitching tents.
I don't know why Mark keeps looking at me like this feels like a very targeted ad right now. Who have you been talking to? Yeah, I'm listening.
It was just two guys up here
Sure,
drinking
yeah,
rosé, talking about dick shit.
Can I borrow that? Can I take that with me later, the script?
Yeah,
Cool,
no, for
cool.
sure.
Thanks.
You want me to sign it? I've been performing it so well. My one-man show of fucking ad reads. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. It can also help in the bedroom, especially when it comes time to step up to the plate. That's where Blue Chew comes in. This isn't as much fun as Manscaped was. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I know I'm selling the product.
I think we're all really paying attention.
Yeah, you think so?
It's different, yeah. I think
is-
most people were grooming their balls. Now they're like, tell me more about Blue Chew right now.
Yeah, no. All right, cool. Now that it's
This is a captive audience.
now that we've mowed the infield, it's time to play
Let's
balls.
talk. Yeah, exactly.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night.
Wait, so you chew on it?
Yeah.
So it's Viagra, but you just chew like gum?
Well, I think it's not a no.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a chew and swallow.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah.
was like Viagra chewing gum.
I mean,
Like, and you keep chewing and it...
that seems like some dangerous fucking science.
But you'd spit it out when you don't want it to keep working.
But if you don't,
Right.
just chewing this sad piece of gum because, yeah. So the process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you can receive your prescription within days. The best part, all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations about your dick, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package.
Yeah.
You see what they did there? Yeah.
What's it called? Blue Chew.
BlueChew.com.
Blue Chew.
So, if you could benefit from some extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we've got a special deal just for all of you. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code FATMAN at checkout. It's pay $5 shipping.
We have some samples now for you to chew on.
Yeah.
Let's all get our Blue Chew on.
Blue Chew. So that's BlueChew.com, promo code FATMAN to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
That was great, Mark.
I'm going into business, reading about dick pills. So we have a Q&A today. We have some things to give away for said Q&A. Yeah, so stay right there.
All right. How's everyone doing? Thank you all for coming tonight. It's awesome. You guys have been amazing. Thanks. Ooh. I need a hero. I'm holding on for... That's one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen. I lost... Because you know I was doing I saw it early. Did I tell you? Oh, so... firstly, huge He-Man fan. Right? Secondly, love the show. But... Because I happened to be hosting the Netflix Geeked, where the trailer was debuted, right? So I got to see the trailer a few days early before it was debuted, and I lost it, and they also gave me screeners. So I saw the first 5 back in July?
Sounds right.
Yeah. It's great. And I squealed every time you guys snuck in an 87 reference, because I spotted them all. I'm obsessed with the Dolph Lundgren movie.
As well you should be.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. I can quote that. I can do Skeletor's speech. I know I'm deep into that. But no, I'm in. I need the second half. I need it. I need it.
Things happen in the second half.
You got any of them screeners again? You got any of them screeners?
No.
Okay. Got any of them scripts?
Like that sounds a bit like a dude who used to hang out in the back alley. He's like, hey man, I'll suck your dick. BlueChew.com. So yes, we have some He-Man toys and a mystery He-Man box. And on top of that, we also have, thanks to the good folks at Sounding Point LA and the LA Philharmonic, I have 2 tickets to a series of performances at the Hollywood Bowl. I have 2 tickets to the Maestro at the Movies, John Williams, on...
Can I win them?
What?
How do I win them?
You got to answer the question, I guess. 2 tickets on the 3rd of November, which is, I think, this Friday. 2 tickets to Black Panther.
You said November.
September. No. My bad. Skywalker Ryan, you guys. 2 tickets to Black Panther at the Bowl on the 10th. And then 2 tickets to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince on the 17th.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter! I felt like that's the only time I could do a British accent.
It's amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I've been working on it.
Harry Potter.
It's either that or lots of Roy Kent.
Yeah.
Which Roy Kent is
my
new
fucking
hero.
love Roy.
Oi, Phoebe!
Yeah.
Roy Kent! He's there!
Ted Lasso, the character we love the most.
Lasso.
Yeah.
Is that the French dub?
How do you say it? Lasso.
Lasso.
Ugh. Lasso.
Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Bien sûr, Monsieur Lasso. So yeah, do we have some questions for these fine folks to win these fine prizes?
Who's got questions?
Ooh.
We'll go here first. You were on it. Go. Yeah. You've been here enough. Go to the light.
Come stand in the light, dude. You gotta get on camera, or nobody will know. Glug, glug, glug,
Gentlemen, thank you for tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey man, what's your name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, how are you, Jonathan?
I'm great. I'm here with you guys, so it's amazing.
We're having the best night.
Hey, real quick, before my question, the biggest jump I've ever jumped in any horror anything was that car scene.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it's not funny.
No.
That's why I was upset with him.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like Mike was like putting up his middle finger at his audience. It's a horrible jump scare. Sorry, yeah.
So...
Your question, good sir.
My question for you gentlemen is, I loved Haunting of Bly Manor. If you could do a haunting show, but with a DC or Marvel character, who would it be and what would the plot be?
A haunting show.
DC or Marvel?
DC or Marvel or just DC?
Either one.
Can I throw a curveball?
Ooh.
Go for it.
I would do The Haunting of the Crow. Because that's such a tragic gothic romance, The Crow. I think that fits. I think, and it can be terrifying. Eric Draven, seeking revenge. That's what I would use that comic book property, which isn't DC or
but
Marvel.
that's better.
But we'll have it. Why not?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
It's your answer. You can do what you
The
want.
Haunting of the Crow Manor.
The Haunting of Crow Manor. I think I would do Lucien's Library from The Sandman.
Oh.
Just because it's the storehouse of all stories, right? It's every tale that's ever been told resides in that library. And then what if they start to come alive? You know, I thinking about it as a TV show. The analogy that I always use is that a movie, when you're writing a movie, you're building a road, and there's a beginning of that road and there's an end of that road, but you're kind of on that straight line. But when you're doing a TV show, you're building a house, and each one of those, the house has 100 doors, and each one of those doors has an episode behind it. And so if the analogy is you're building a TV show, then I want to do a TV show in a library where every episode is a book that's on the shelves. And if every story ever told is on those shelves, and half of them are fucking scary, yeah, that's what I'd do.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
DC.
you.
Thanks,
Give me
Jonathan.
money. All right, so how should we do the giveaway? Should we do it now or wait till the end?
Let's do them as we go.
Do them as we go. All right, well, since you were first, you get to choose. The box is a surprise. That's how that works. It could be empty.
It could be Blue Chew.
It could be. Awesome.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Rahul.
Hello.
Hey, I've been watching you guys for at least you for 5 years with Kevin up here and Kevin for over a decade on this podcast. It's surreal to be here.
Thank you, dude. What's your name?
My name's Akhil.
I'm sorry?
Akhil.
Excellent. Good to meet you. I love your fucking shirt, dude.
Hey, man. Bought
That
it
is-
just for the show.
Oh, that is fucking. Now I want that shirt.
Yeah, it's on Hot Topic.
Take it off.
They didn't pay me.
What's your question, my friend?
Yeah, so I have a really simple question. Since we're talking about shows being brought back, and I was recently watching Lower Decks. I have a question about you as a writer and as an actor. How would you bring back these iconic shows that people have so much nostalgia for? With the fine line that you have to draw, like you have to write those love letters, which Lower Decks seems, but so much more fast-paced that it doesn't seem like Star Trek enough.
I mean, as a writer, especially dealing with intellectual property, especially dealing with something that people love, it's remembering what they love about it, you know. And the thing that I think people love about Star Trek is less the trappings of it, you know. It's less because I love the classic show as much as anybody does, but like those sets are a little cheesy, the special effects are a little cheesy. There's a charm to it, but that's not why I love that show. You know, which is why when you look at something like Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or Discovery, is watching people synthesize the thing that they love using a somewhat modern sensibility. Unless you're doing a period piece, in which case, whatever. But even Doctor Who, which feels like it's nothing but period pieces, still contemporizes as time goes on. But it's still about remembering the thing people loved about it in the first place. Some people may quibble with the way we attack Masters of the Universe, but I think that anybody who engages with it understands that it's coming from a place of deep, deep love for what it was, while still trying to view those stories and some of those dynamics and some of those characters through a modern lens, because we are not the people we were in 1984. You know, the world is not the world it was in 1984. The things we are willing to accept from our dramas and our comedies and our animation today is different than it was in 1984. And so there has to be some level of contemporization. There has to be some level of adaptation. And as long as you still have a star to guide yourself by, that is the only advice that I can give, which is find out what you love about it and find ways to amplify it, and find the things that you didn't love or didn't respond to and find ways to minimize it. And then maybe you can have something that you're proud of as a storyteller, and then an audience can engage with as viewers, and that everybody involved can be proud of having made, because it's the spirit of the thing the spirit of the law is sometimes better than the letter of the law. The letter of the law will always fuck you at the end, but the spirit of the law is to protect people and to look out for the little guy, and the spirit of the show is the thing that you're trying to defend and light candles around and worship at the end of the day. That's awesome. Mr. Actor?
Actors are fucking stupid. We do what the writers tell us to do. We owe everything to writers. We really do. They make us look smart. They make us look funny. They deep dive on the reference material. We're at their mercy. So, and I honestly, I have such a low opinion of mine and my crew. It's not on us. We're just there for the ride, really. It's up to the writers.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk on this one.
You know, but I as a writer for a very long time before I worked in television, it's not that I didn't have a respect for the things that actors did, because I always did, because I knew it was something that I couldn't do. But I never knew how hard it was until I wrote a thing that somebody made so much better by performing it. Sure. You know, and it's a lesson I learned working with Andre Holland on Castle Rock, where like that dude is a fucking titan, like, and we gave him so little to work with because to be frank, we didn't really know where the first season was going while we were shooting it. You know, we had an idea generally, but there were still so many things up in the air, so many things open for debate, that we hadn't answered some of those questions until the very end. And so I remember being with Andre on set, and he was like, so hey man, what happens to this character 2 episodes from now? And I was like, to be frank, I'm not sure. But what I can tell you is, here's the character's journey. Like, here's his arc. Here's where he's going to land. He's going to land in a place of resolve and of understanding of who he is and where he came from and why these things are happening to him. And that gave him enough fucking talons to stick in. It's like, okay, I can push towards that. I know where that's going to end. I know what it looks like to be lost and what it's going to feel like to be found. And he found nooks and crannies.
Nuggets?
Nougats. I'm sticking with the nougats. But he found these little like corners to live in that character. Yeah. He found these little spaces to inhabit, and he brought so much to it, so much empathy to it, that we couldn't have put on the page, because only a great actor can come to a thing and find out where the life really lives and then make that thing real.
Well, at best, we can elevate material. Because the thing is, we have to think, we think on such a micro scale, right? Like, writers are thinking on such a grand scale. It's multiple characters. There's a bigger picture at work here. And then we get in and we take one individual that you wrote about and obsess about it for 3 months. So of course we're gonna investigate that and do things to that and find nuance that no one can be expected to do except that individual. You know, obviously for myself, I can only speak for myself, but I'm hyper focused on one individual. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I lose sight of the bigger picture because I'm so focused on that. So I think we can elevate, but the material has to be there for it to be elevated. So that's why, like, when it comes to conversations about story and writing and stuff, I try and kind of keep it mad real, which is we do fuck all. We can get in on the day, and if you've got a joke, we'll try it 6 different times, and we have the tools to kind of like, you know, make that work and give it the best chance it can. Mm-hmm. If you have a relationship you want to work, 2 actors are going to find their way to make sure that that's as you guys intended. Like, but that's it, and like that's what we do. But we didn't come up with it, and you know, so the genius is always at that point. Like, yeah.
I don't know. It always feels a bit to me like it's a symphony, and you can be the dude who wrote the music, and then there's the dude who conducts the music, and then there's the orchestra, and none of it works unless everybody is doing the same thing and pulling the boat in the same direction. And unless those musicians can play, it's just notes on a page. And reminding myself that it's this holistic experience, that it's you know, you got to go around the horn and make sure everybody's giving their all. That's what makes it sing. I hope that kind of answered your question.
More than answered it.
Maybe. Awesome, dude. Well, we forgot Jonathan. Yes, sir. You forgot to choose your movie, sir. What? Yeah, no, it's a package. We're not doing this all night.
Toy and a thing.
A toy and a thing. A toy and a thing and a toy and a thing. So.
That's generous, Mark.
No.
Mark, that's too generous.
Harry Potter. It's all yours, my friend.
Wow.
Now you get to choose a toy and a thing. Here's what's left. These two, and this, and one of these. Ooh.
Yeah, it's Battle Cat. Yeah.
Taking Battle Cat? All right, and? All right then. John Williams is yours, which leaves Black Panther, Skelegod, and Mossman. Ooh. I think she's got a question she wants to ask.
I have a question. I'm not going to take any prizes.
You better not.
But I read on the internet somewhere that you predicted many months ago the plot of Spider-Man No Way Home. And I don't think that we've talked about that tonight.
I don't remember what I said 9 months ago when we were talking about fucking, I guess it was Far From Home. And I get, this is going to sound like the worst question. Does anybody remember what I said? I know. I was like, I've had a little bit of wine. What did I say that got me into trouble?
So, well, we saw the trailer. What did you guys think of the trailer?
Is that what we said? Did we say that it was some fucking like one new day shit from Marvel Comics where they were going to? Oh, come on, man. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a shaved nut, and you keep on.
I've slept in these booths. If you guys need to sleep it off.
So, and you're the guy buying me drinks, huh? All right. I mean, I dug the trailer. It's still so early that I don't know entirely what the movie is, because it feels like much of what we saw in that trailer is the first act of the movie, which is, my problem is everybody knows that I'm Spider-Man. How do I solve that problem? Magic, which of course is the worst idea ever. I think dad bod Doctor Strange is a little like rolling up on the sweats. Like, let's do magic in my jammies is a little like, makes me wonder if that's actually Doctor Strange, or yes. Or are we going to get the oft-rumored, long-threatened Mephisto reveal, which, who the fuck knows? I don't know how much magic the Marvel Universe wants to get into. But I will watch Tom Holland do fucking anything. Like, that kid is so charming. That kid, he's like 50 years old. That kid is so charming. And the sort of the mixture, I think John Watts as a director now understands these characters so well and understands all of the actors' strengths. So to sit there and watch Zendaya just sort of completely undersell these lines, and that's exactly what MJ would sound like, and to watch Tom just always be kind of frenzied and panicked and always on the verge of a nervous breakdown is exactly what Spider-Man kind of should be. And fucking Alfred Molina, like, strapping, like, I'm gonna take this shirt off. I'm 78 years old. Can you de-age my chest a bit, Marvel? Because nobody wanted this in 2006. But that little nod, that and the little fucking Green Goblin bomb that rolls in, we're getting all of it. Yeah. And it's a lot of it is the things that we'd all been threatened with, and we'd all been, sort of led to believe, which is, this is the multiverse. This is everything Spider-Man all colliding all at the same time on top of each other. And that's rad. Like, I'm here for it. And how much this version of the multiverse and Doctor Strange's spell meshes with He Who Shall Not Remain and the branching of all the timelines and the Kang the Conqueror, which also melds with WandaVision. Like, all of that shit is still kind of up for debate. And then what Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness with multiverse in the fucking title, how that amps any of this stuff up. But, I'm not going to watch it. Like, look where we are, you guys. We're all going to go. Otherwise, roll on a Tuesday night in a nerd bar. We're those people. But I remain emboldened by the things that the Marvel Universe does, even when I don't love everything they do. I was listening to this podcast with Patton Oswalt, who was talking about doing comedy about things that he loves as opposed to things that he hates. He's like, when I was a younger man, I did a lot of comedy about stuff that I hated. But the older I get, the more I realize that only by loving something so deeply can you find the flaws in it. And the flaws are not flaws that render it invalid for that love. it's because you love it so much, you look at it so closely, and you see the things that may or may not be awesome, but that's everything you love. That's marriage, that's parenting, that's all of that stuff. It's
Star Wars.
Star Wars. We love it so much that we look at it so
Hate
hard.
it.
We hate pieces of it.
Because I fucking hate some Star Wars as much as I love.
Yeah.
Because I love it so much, I hate it. I'm not saying which films, but
No,
you figure
we
it
know.
out.
And so, like, I love this shit so much. I love Marvel, I love DC, I love independent, I love comic books, I love science fiction, I love all of it, except for horror, because me and horror have a whole thing.
Yeah, fuck horror.
Fuck horror. And so when I do stumble upon something that I'm like, you know what? It didn't work for me, and here's why. It is out of a place of love. So I'm looking for this to be as great as it can be. I'm looking for everything to be its best possible version of itself. And when we see it, we'll talk about it, and we'll say the things we loved, we'll say the things we didn't love. But that is the joy of being a fucking nerd, is that we found ways to love things, and then we found ways to look somewhat sideways at them at the same time. And through that prism, we both get better at loving the things, and we get better at telling the stories, and we become better nerds for finding flaws and then looking past them anyway.
Meaning Kevin will talk about the things he loved, and you'll talk about the things you don't.
Indeed. That is our relationship. That is the honeymooners we built for the last 10 years.
Okay, we'll hand the mic back to the audience.
Thank you. Okay, all right.
Yeah, you got your light. Hello.
Yeah,
You have the best mask. That is
Thank
so
you.
fabulous.
I'm a burlesque artist.
Oh, sweet.
But that's actually a great lead into my
Yeah.
question.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Taz, like the Tasmanian devil.
Well met, Taz. Well met.
So I am an artist. I'm a femme of color. I'm a queer femme of color. I moonlight. I work in IT by day, and I moonlight at night as a performance artist. And I'm also South Asian. So, also thank you so much. I admire you so deeply, Rahul. Like, just your work I've been following for years, and it's just fucking fantastic. And so, as my question is, as an artist who is mired in everything that, like, capitalism and the patriarchy and in, you know, all the pressure of racism that we as artists of color, when we're creating our art, like when we're doing our art and we're making it, like I'm writing a musical right now, and I'm writing an album, and I'm trying to just do the right thing, but like also get my feelings out, but do the right thing at the same time. So how does that, for you as a writer, how does that impact how you're writing and what you're choosing to write? And for you as an actor, how does that impact the projects you're choosing to pursue? Because I'm struggling with that, because I want to eat, but also I want to make art that I am proud of, that I can stand behind.
That is a perfect last question, because I think it's the thing we'll chew on the most. For me, my journey to being a professional writer, like I was a journalist for a very long time, covering entertainment, and then when I decided I wanted to make shit up for money, which I then put on business cards, I make shit up for money. I began writing the things that I saw the most, you know, and the things that I saw the most as a person living in America in the 20th century was stories about white protagonists, white male protagonists, you know, and I loved them. You know, I grew up in the 80s. Like, I loved fucking Predator and Lethal Weapon and Ghostbusters, and like, that's the kind of stuff that when I started writing, I wrote. And they were fine, you know, they got me a job or two, but they didn't light the world on fire for me. It was only when I began to incorporate, the more I incorporated of myself into the work, the better the work was, and the more people responded to the work. And that was this weird inverse logical connection that I couldn't have made. I couldn't have planned, I couldn't have gained that. But it was the pushing myself to the brink of giving up, much like your story of, I'd been trying to do this for a long time, and I hadn't been getting any purchase. And And lots of doors were closed. Even the doors that opened ultimately went down blind alleys and didn't lead anywhere. And I kept on getting to this point of, I'm going to write one more thing. And if this thing doesn't work, I'm going to just be a journalist. Like, this is a perfectly valid life to lead. Like my dad is an accountant. He can't possibly love it, but he did it for 50 years, and because that's what people of that generation did. Kevin's dad was a mailman. I'm sure he didn't love every house he went to. He did the job because that's what men did. They took a job, they provided for the family, they maybe got 2 weeks of vacation a year, and they could afford a good Christmas. And that was it. And I was like, I'm dreaming this dream that might be selfish on my part, because being an artist is an inherently kind of selfish thing. I want to tell stories. I want to dance. I want to do things that people notice. But the more I put myself into it, especially that very last script that I wrote, I was like, listen, this is it. I'm done. I'll write this thing. I'll put it out in the world and see what happens. And that thing, which happened to be about both me as a parent, me as a black person, me as an adult, me as a man, and this desire in my heart to minimize the trauma that I saw on screen all the time. I remember Kev asked me if I had seen Underground Railroad, the Barry Jenkins show, which is beautiful. It's gorgeous, but it was too fucking much for me. I didn't want those images in my head anymore. I've seen so much, the tonnage of sort of the black trauma that a black audience is forced to confront any time of the year, any year of the decade. But this year, last year, didn't want it. And so writing something that was about people of color but did not have the trauma attached to it. And I started going into meetings, every meeting I'd go into, because they start calling me because I'm the black dude who writes genre shit, which is awesome. I love the fact that I am on a list that people consult for that sort of thing. And I always say, I want to write things like Into the Spider-Verse, because that movie is so fundamentally brown. It is so much about that kid who's Afro-Latino.
It's effortlessly diverse.
Effortlessly diverse. He flip-flops, he code switches like a motherfucker, like Spanish to his mom, English to his dad. He's just skateboarding and having the best life ever. It is about him being black, but it is not about blackness. And so being able to tell stories that can not be about pain and not be about trauma, but be about celebrating the wonder of diversity, about celebrating the world that we live in. And I'm still trying to get, I have this idea, I want to tell a fucking coming of age story about black kids, about brown kids, about Asians, about everybody who never get those stories. Never get those stories. I'm a fucking 15-year-old living in this place, and it's footloose, but for brown kids, where they have nothing to worry about. Maybe it's a fantasy, but fucking Breakfast Club is a fantasy. I just want to be able to tell that for people like me who grew up without ever being able to see it. And so I think the work is, for me anyway, is being able to do work that I'm proud of and understanding that there's an audience out there for it and drilling down into what makes me happy, the things that I don't see, and then just putting it into the world. Some of it's going to hit, some of it won't, and that's fine. It's a thing that I can't talk about that much just yet, but I can say I went out on a pitch meeting. I was invited to pitch on this movie, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing a version of this thing." And I said, "Great, happily do a version of this thing. By the way, this is the black version of this thing." And did I get the job? No. But they were like, "I like that part of it." It was a big fucking swing. And I would much rather fail on a big swing than just kind of limp to the finish line on it's okay. So it's find the thing that you want to say and find a way to say that thing using the people and using the voices that mean the most to you. And then if you can crack that nut, and it's a tough nut to crack, because if everybody could do it, everybody would do it. But only you can tell that story. That's the thing that emboldened me through that process, was I'm trying to tell a story that only I can tell. And I'm trying to tell a story through a lens that only I have. And I have to believe, because again, there are less professional writers working than there are baseball players, that I'm the only one who can bring that to the table. And somebody will want it. And we happen to be living in a time where actually they're looking for it. I don't know how long it's going to last. We're in this weird fucking window period of everybody claims to want it, and they're starting to pay for it. do it. You know, do it the best you can do it, and make sure that it's you and you're proud of it. You know, don't compromise on the parts of it that you love the most. You know, there's always room for negotiation. There's always room for compromise. There's always room for like, we can change some of this and tweak some of this and whatever. But you need to fucking build the walls around what makes it special for you. And fucking, if they don't like it, they don't like it. That's fine. You know, and I also think that part of the work is finding the community who also wants to row the boat in the same direction, is to find other artists and other craftsmen and other performers and align those things together.
Not many South Asian musical writers.
No, but I'm sure there are South Asian actors, there's South Asian performers, there's South Asian libretticists.
There.
One right there. You know, and not, of course, that you should just fucking like hammer this dude, but they're
I actually have a role for him in my musical. Just let you
really?
know. Yeah.
Oh.
You know I can't sing or
I'll
dance.
tell you about it. No, seriously, before I knew I was coming here, this is like months ago, I wrote, I'm not making this up just to entice you. It's real. Anyways, go on with your wisdom.
So, the truth of the matter is, I don't think about any of it. I don't think you should put that kind of expectation on yourself to worry about representation and what you're doing for your community. You lead by example. So for me, I just try and do the best job I do. I kick down the doors that are closed, and I hope they stay open for the community behind me. I don't actively shut them behind me, because it's very easy for people of color to shut doors behind us, because the problem we face is if I act the fool on set, they don't say Rahul Kohli's a dickhead. They say we give these guys a chance, and look what they do. Look what they do with that. Your movie bombs. You don't bomb because Rahul Kohli was bad in it. It's because no one wanted to see this Indian guy in it. I can't take that kind of pressure. So for me, what I do is I just try and I try and lead by example. I try and represent us every day, but I don't think about us every day. I just think about the job in hand, the character that I'm playing. And I think if you focus on being the best writer you can be and telling the best musical you can tell, you'll open doors. You will open doors by the quality of your work and the job opportunities that you open. That's what we need. So like, and for me, the one thing I am conscious of, and I've never really said this out loud, so I don't know how this is going to go down. I don't want Green Knight. That's Dev's job. Good luck to Dev. Like, that's his role. I don't want to be up for Green Knight with Dev. I want to take roles away from Chris Pratt. Yes. I want to take roles away from Chris Hemsworth. I'm not saying I got anything against them, but I don't want 6 of us. It's me, it's Riz, it's Dev, it's Evan Jogia. There's like 5 of us. I don't want to be in competition with these dudes. I want them to book the roles that they're up for. I want to take away from the majority. So that's why, so when I approach work, and my team are very aware of this, when you send me for a role and it says South Asian, his name is Raj, I go, I don't fucking want it. And then the next one comes in and it says, doesn't have a race. This is John, 30s, handsome. I made that up, it never says that. When it says that, and I go, oh, they're seeing everyone, I want that fucking role. So I want to take from the majority, not the minority. So I try not to think about, that's the only time I do think about race. Doing the, and you spoke about, you said something about doing the right thing. Right's a perspective. It is, I'm about to sound Sith here, but we all have a different definition of what's right and wrong, because the truth of the matter is, I should have said no to Ravi Chakrabarti, the doctor. How many more fucking South Asian doctors or Asian doctors do you need on TV? Right? Am I right? So I got a stereotype sent to me. I got a doctor. And guess what? He doesn't get the girls. And he's a geek. And he's smart. And the lead don't fancy him. Guess who she fancies? The dude with the 6-pack, the white boy. Major Lillywhite. So... Am I not?
Right in the name.
It's right there, right? They didn't even fucking hide that shit. So I'm taking the role of Dr. Ravi Chakrabarti. Do we need it? Is it right to take it? Should I do that? Does that harm how we're perceived? Am I just contributing to the same stereotype? Or do I fucking ignore that, take it, say I'll do everything they want, and then not? And then flip that stereotype and make Ravi the comedic, like add edge to him, take away some of those stereotypes from within. Do I start saying to them, I ain't fucking doing that storyline. I'm not doing that. Let's try and meet in the middle. Oh, Ravi and Peyton is now a thing. Oh, okay, so Peyton. You see what I'm saying? So like, I took something that I shouldn't have, that was kind of on paper, and you flip it. So I don't know what right is. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what right is, but now when you point at Ravi, that's not a stereotype. I know it's not a stereotype because I make damn sure that's not a stereotype. So, and I did it because also, and here's the real fucking rub. I did it because I myself struggle with being a self-loathing South Asian. And that's something that's like that's a weird thing to clap, but that's something that
really
people
love
of color,
myself, thanks very
that's something
much.
that children of immigrants particularly suffer with, is that the thing that we try to hide at school. My name's not Rahul, it's Rahul. The things that when we're born in a country where we're not necessarily, where we're the minority, we hide it. We're ashamed of it. We cover it up at school. We try to white up, like, nah, I ain't like that. I ain't like a fucking Indian dude. All that stuff weirdly benefited me because I was so adverse to playing stereotypes that I spot them a mile off because I was like that in life. I don't know what's right or wrong. So it's hard to kind of have this barometer, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of keep it as simple as I can. Don't worry about the rest of us. Like, you just do, if you do the best job you can possibly do, if you could be the best writer you can, if I can be the best actor I possibly can, and I don't act up on set, and I don't slap someone or whatever, as long as I do, because I know that that's the unfair thing with being a person of color. Like I said, we are all punished for one's actions, because that's the weird fucked up thing when, you know, we are all brought in for some reason. Yeah, you're all like that. So as long as you just be the best, like, keep it simple, the best writer or the best actor or the best musician you can possibly be, we'll walk through that door with you. Don't worry about, because that's too much expectation. And like I said, right and wrong's too binary, because if it was, I shouldn't have taken Ravi. I shouldn't have taken that role because it's a stereotype. Oh crap! But again, I did. I took it and I changed it for weird reasons, but they still benefited us in the long run. So I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but I hope that means something to you.
It's so validating. I really needed to hear that. Thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.
No, it's our pleasure, and there are so many different ways to find your way to the solution to that problem, you know. And it's not a problem; it's an opportunity. And that, you know, we always call them problem-tunities in the room. Like, well, this sounds bad. It's like, well, but when we solve it, it's going to be awesome, you know. And like, do what strikes a chord in your heart, and like you know, Rahul said, just fucking be the best version of you, and then find your way to tell your story, you know, and then everything else, you know, if it's done well and if the gods smile on you, will lead to the next thing. But yeah, too much pressure, you know, doesn't always make a diamond. It also crushes fucking rocks. So. And
we don't need any more pressure. So don't put that extra shit on yourself. Like, you know, I know we represent, we can't help it, but you know, if I thought about every fucking Indian, every audition and I'd crumble, you know. It's too much. It's way too much. Just think about the art. Like I said, you do a fucking great job. You're opening doors. You're doing it. So don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mark.
No, it's all good. You get toys, and you get to go see Black Panther on the 10th at the Hollywood Bowl with a live orchestra, because fucking life is good.
I love your sorry, by the way.
You can have both of them if you want, or we can do one more question and give the last one away.
Should I give it to someone?
No, we'll do one more question.
We can do a question.
Yeah, we'll do one more question.
It's just a toy question.
It's just a toy question. You don't get to go see anything cool.
Really quick, I know everybody has to get home. Basically,
What's your name?
Kyle.
Kyle. Good
Behind
to
the
meet you.
camera, we follow each other. Basically, what's a new indie project that deserves more shine? Like, we've talked a lot about franchises. We all love genre. We all love all these different things. But what's something new that you guys have discovered and feels like we should go check it out when we go home?
Ooh, new. See, new's a bit rough because
or indie, just indie.
Just indie is good. I desperately want to see Green Knight. I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen Green Knight?
No.
No? You're a bad South Asian.
I know, right? 'Cause I'm like, I don't want to get FOMO when I watch it. No, I was supposed to. I think we had tickets, right? And we had to reschedule because of work commitments. But yeah, it was on my list because it looks phenomenal. I got to support my boy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's crushing it. But I will.
Yeah. There's a movie that I fell in love with that I saw because, somebody recommended that it was cool. It was the first movie by a filmmaker named J.D. Dillard called Slight. It was a Sundance movie. It was like really small. They maybe spent like $3 or $4 million on it. But it was about this sleight of hand street magician who biohacks his arm. He implants some kind of electromagnet or whatever so he could do like legit fucking magic. And then all of the troubles it's about a black kid in the hood who figures out how to do magic and then ends up in Dutch with like gangsters and drug dealers and all of that shit. But it's this incredibly sweet story ultimately about a guy just trying to get out, who will do whatever he needs to do to get out. And the magic of it is, how he retains his sense of self while still undergoing and pushing through what ultimately become like kind of insane circumstances. But it's a thriller, it's a coming of age story, it's a bit of a romance, and it's he's a superhero.
What's it called?
Slight.
Slight.
S-L-E-I-G-H-T.
Slight.
And then J.D. Dillard would then go off to like make a bunch. He's doing a Star Wars fucking movie because that dude is that fucking dude. But yeah,
bastard.
Fucking bastard. But yeah, that's what comes to mind of like relatively recent indies that I just kind of stumbled on and fell in love with. Also, The Terminator. If you've never seen it, the first one is amazing. Are you familiar with this movie?
Yes, if we're playing that game, Star Wars is an indie movie.
It very much is.
You should see Star Wars. Because it's an independent film.
Yeah, well, not the first one. Because the first one, Fox paid for it. The other one's
it's
George
the other ones.
Bancroft.
Yeah. Empire Strikes Back is one of the best indie films you'll ever see. And The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, technically. I made an indie. It's really weird. The indie film that I shot this year, cause I'm self-promoting because I need to. I post too much about Gundams and model kits, so I never promote my own projects. I made an indie this year. It was my first film where I'm one of the leads. And I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Weird.
The title, the pictures, they are more secretive than Midnight Mass. It's the weirdest shit. Like, it made no sense to me. They've got their reasons, but I've got an indie film. It's really, really good. It's got some really good people in it. And if you follow me on social media, apparently I'm allowed to tweet about it soon.
Oh, okay.
So you'll hear about it. I'll say this. It's directed by Marley Elfman, who's Danny Elfman's daughter. Oh. It's her directorial debut. Yeah. And she was a producer who contacted me through Mike. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we shot that this year, and it's very... I'm like this close to starting bar fights.
I think I might have to, not only because I've got a nice little terrarium building in here. I got a couple flies swimming.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's all you, baby.
Thank you. But yeah, that's an indie project.
We're going to know the name of that when you tweet it, right?
Oh, fuck, it's called Next Exit.
Nice.
I shouldn't have done that, innit?
Hey, man.
It's a Skywalker rosé. It is good. We saw it. Fuck it. It's Next Exit. That's what it's called. I don't know why they're being secretive. Jesus.
Well, because what's at the next exit to? Narnia?
I play Ezra Bridger in it. Tweet about it.
Tweet it. Yeah.
That's right.
Whatever happens now is your fault.
Fine, I'll take it.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, for your question. Would you like to have a Moss Man? You guys, I think that's a show.
Wow.
I think we did it.
I went on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And typed in Blackman Beyond.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to know what I'm getting myself into.
And you showed up anyway.
And I did. And I saw the runtime on it, and I went, 2 fucking hours! And it's flown by, and I hope it did for everyone else too. But yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Have you had a good time tonight? So much of that is because of the man to my right, Mr. Rahul Kohli, who showed up and fucking knocked it out of the park. Thank you to the good folks at Scum and Villainy, namely JC, for continuing to host this insanity. Thank you to the folks at Sounding Point LA and the LA Philharmonic for giving us the tickets that we could give away to you folks. And that's a fucking show. My name is Marc Bernardin. He's Rahul Kohli. Stay tuned. Kevin will be back shortly. I don't know when. Maybe not. Fuck it. We'll keep doing these until he shows up. But until then, stay tuned. Same fat channel. Same fat time. Smodcast.com or youtube.com/Kevin Smith. Good night, everybody. Thank you.